Good morning, everybody. Good to see you here on the Dev Mentor Dave live stream here on Twitch, or if you're watching this later on YouTube, welcome. Make sure if you are watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, as even though we're doing all of these things on Twitch, I do upload all of these obviously to YouTube. So if you'd like to join us live, jump over to the Twitch channel and become a follower. I think they're called followers over there. So become a follower over here on the Twitch side, and that way you'll get notified when when I go live, and you can participate in what we're doing here. So, excuse me. I even had coffee this morning, and I'm still dealing with phlegm. So if you are watching live, I see there are a couple people watching live. Jump in the chat, say hello, and participate, because we're going to be doing some stuff with code today. Obviously, usually we do that type of thing on our Saturday live stream. Saturday live stream is a 2-hour live stream, as opposed to our workday recap live streams, which are only about 30 minutes Monday through Friday at the end of the day. This is here near the beginning of the day. I'll be honest with you, with the holiday last night, staying up, I think I was up till, it was definitely after midnight. It was probably close to 1. So I slept in a little bit today and enjoyed a little bit of rest. I'm still fighting with some back pain stuff. So, we'll see. We'll see if we can make it the full 2 hours today before things get bad. I did take some medicine, so hopefully that'll help and not make me drowsy. So we'll see how all of that works. But welcome, Ming. Good to see you. Thank you for saying it's good to see me too, especially since we didn't have a stream yesterday due to the holiday. So Ming, someday I'm going to have to meet you in person, Ming, and just show you that I'm not really that old. Yeah, there's a little bit of gray in here, but I'm not a grandpa yet. I mean, come on. I hope not. My kids shouldn't be having children yet at this point in time. All right, so what are we doing on the live stream? So obviously, if something comes up in the chat and you have a question about something that we're doing, or about something that is just going on in your life, absolutely send it out there. Put at Dev Mentor Dave at the beginning of it. It just highlights it a little bit in the chat, and that way I'm able to see when somebody is specifically trying to get my attention. And I can usually see that and just take a pause in whatever we're doing and deal with whatever question you have. So, and again, anything that I say is, hopefully true, but obviously my opinion based on my experiences, and your experiences may be different. So depending on where you're at in your life, where you're at in the world, those things can have an effect on whether my information is the perfect information for you or not. But that's awesome. Ming says he brought a walking stick as a souvenir from the UK. Ha ha ha. I might need it actually with the way my back's hurting. Good grief. So, but so today, what we've been doing on our Saturday live streams is we've been going through the process of building a website that has a React/Next front end and connects to a WordPress backend using the WordPress API. And this came up through another discussion before in a previous live stream. And so we talking about whether or not you should learn WordPress. And so we thought, hey, let's just do it. Let's figure it out. I've done this before. It's been, I think, at least 8 years since I've done this. That just reminds me how old I am every time I say something like that. But I think it's been about 8 years since I did this. So I'm kind of relearning some of these things. Of course, doing some things in in the front end that are newish to me. I've done some of these things as well, but I've more honestly directed some of these things than worked that much in it. So I love doing this stuff because it helps keep my skills up to date, and just, I think, helps show you guys, because I'm not doing coding every day like I used to. I think it's good to show you guys what it's like to struggle through some things here and there. So hopefully you all at least get a chuckle out of it. If you don't learn anything specifically from it, you can hopefully at least laugh at my mistakes. So there you go. So last week we got the basic site set up, and let me jump over to the screen here. Ming says his last take home was in Next.js and TS. Oh, nice. So you should be able to tell me what to do so that I can figure it out. Okay. So here we go. So this is our very basic WordPress website with the base template that comes with it. You know, this is, if we were going to use this for our front end, this would be what the front end would currently look like. We are working on a page called template. All right, it just says, here's the page title, this is the template page content. You won't create more bugs than I will, Ming, I can guarantee you. All right, so we've got some very, very simple basic information here on this page. And we've got Claude up here to help us out a little bit in case we need any information. And then we're going to open up, I don't think I have, yeah, it's not running. Okay, so let's get it up and running, the Next.js, so npm run dev. Okay, let's come back over here, refresh. Okay, so this is what we have so far. This is, if you remember, we made a page, or actually Claude made a page for us, and the home page, which is definitely a lot of assumptions about what Dev Mentor Dave is, but that's okay. Do I use Claude at work? I do. I probably use ChatGPT more, just because a lot of the things that I'm using it for are not necessarily coding. They're more planning and communication and things like that. In my current role, if I were writing code the whole time, I would definitely use Claude more than ChatGPT. So I am actually trying to pull more into Claude, especially for anything that has to do with coding. I just feel like it does a better job of giving you useful code, not just hopefully useful code. So so Ming's asking what my company's policy is on ChatGPT. So it's interesting. I actually wrote the policy. But high level, basically, we want to encourage our developers to use the tools that are available to them that will help them do the job better and faster. And hopefully more accurately, that will hopefully save them time. Obviously, we don't want them to become so dependent upon it that we're putting in bad code, that we're putting in unmanageable code. And so what we do is we encourage our developers to use ChatGPT or to use Claude. Several of them use specific IDEs that have those capabilities built in. We want them to use it in such a way that they feel comfortable. Some of our devs still don't feel very comfortable using it, and that's okay. We want to encourage them to find ways to use it that will make it easier for them to do their job, faster to do their job, but we also want to have control. So we don't use any sort of AI for checking PRs or any of that stuff. All of that's still done manually for us. And that's because we've just noticed that using AI doesn't mean that it always sticks with our standards, that it always follows our protocols. And so we want to make sure that that is still happening. And so anybody using AI, we want to make sure that their code is still good and still follows the standards and the protocols that we have for our company. So all the PRs are still manually done for us, but we encourage the developers to use it as much as they find it to be helpful. That's kind of the policy. Now, around that, you also have to be careful about making sure that you're not putting client data and client information and secret information potentially into a public website. So you have to kind of obfuscate some of your questions and some of your asks of the code writing, just to make sure that you're not giving away any information that would be proprietary. And so that's some of the nuance there in that. But generally, we encourage our devs to use it as much as they find it helpful. We don't want to force people to use it just to say that we're using AI, or just to assume that we're faster or more competitive because of it. We want our devs to find where that balance is for themselves, so that they can be the most productive version of themselves. So that's kind of the process that we have set up for ours. And every company's different. They're going to have different policies. I feel like that's a pretty fair policy, that encourages but doesn't that encourages but discourages the wrong usage, but also doesn't force people to use something that they may not be comfortable with right now. So hopefully, as the tools get better, as the processes get better, we'll see more and more adoption and more progress because of it. And just as with any tool, the more you use it, the better it gets, the better you get at using it. So, there is that level of encouragement too, that we want people to spend time at least trying it out, learning. We share tips sometimes between each other with things that we're learning, or new things that we found out, to just to help each other kind of learn and grow together, and how to use this, to be successful. Because at the end of the day, I mean, as a company, the goal is to be successful and to turn the products out and make our clients happy. So yeah, that's one thing ChatGPT is good for, is giving you some good information and decent architectural updates and structures. So that's a great thing, as long as you're then using it and implementing it and understanding it. Making sure that you're asking it to explain anything that doesn't make sense to you is really important. Always take that next step. And I think that's one of the things that, especially for a junior developer, that I really want to caution you on using AI, is don't just use AI to get an answer. Use AI to learn. And what I mean by that is, don't just accept what AI gave you in the form of code. Read through that code, understand that code, ask AI about the code that you were given. If something doesn't make sense, highlight it, copy, paste it in, tell it to explain what's going on here. And that can help you learn, maybe sometimes even better than all these tutorials. It's so I think there's lots of different ways to benefit from AI, whether you're a junior developer or a senior level developer. But you've got to find the right mix. You've got to find the right process for you. So it's not just asking questions and getting answers and then putting it into your code base, right? So you've got to actually use it in a way to learn, and that often takes a little bit more time, diving a little bit deeper into asking questions. One thing that I've noticed about AI is it tends to learn how you interact with it. And so if you will get into that habit and that process of asking deeper questions and asking it to explain things, it will oftentimes start to just do that automatically for you, with the assumption that you're going to ask, or you're going to want to know why it gave you the information that it did. So just something to keep in mind if you are going to use AI. And again, I think at this stage, I was really opposed to junior devs a year ago using AI, but I think we're at a place now where you've got to use it somewhat, and you've got to get used to interacting with it, if nothing else. But you still need to learn for yourself how programming works, so that you can catch it when AI doesn't do something well. So Ming says, I always ask it to explain everything, show me examples of it on a high level. Have you noticed that that it's giving you that automatically more than it used to? And don't worry, we'll deploy this thing, maybe, if we build something that actually looks decent and does what we're looking for. That's one thing we're gonna have to figure out, is our content. All right, so I'm gonna jump back over here. Again, this was the page. So we're gonna use this page as as a template. All right. And that's why we have template here. Template. Okay. So this is our page, and there's a few things that I want to do. Last week we kind of jumped the gun a little bit, trying to make the connection between Next and WordPress, just to kind of show that it does work. And we had some issues with it, issues that I thought were cores issues, but that turned out to actually not be the issue, and I'll show you what the problem was here. So what I did is I took obviously we were pretty heavily using Claude and Windsurf here last week just to get things moving along, and we've got this code here from Claude. So basically what we have constant URL, which is our API endpoint. Most of it anyway. This will probably change because we will create our own endpoints for some things in the future here. But we've got a function called WordPress API call. It accepts an endpoint that attaches to the end of this, and any options, which honestly we probably won't use options, but we'll see. I think this is for like post requests. I don't know that we're going to use post requests, but I don't know. We'll see what happens as we go. We're going to do what I told you not to do on Thursday, which is discovery code. So everything I talked about on Thursday on our workday recap, I'm going to violate as we do this project. I don't know. I'll probably try to plan some things out just to give us some direction on the live streams. All right, let's see. You need a process.env file for the API URL. Yeah, we'll put that in the env eventually. Right now, I'm just testing to get things working. But yeah, we will create an env file and we'll put that in there. Especially once we get to where we're going to change it, we'll do that. We might even put a couple of them in there so that we can use the one that we want. But anyway, so this was we kind of used this in our page, and we were getting an error. And let me go over here. I've got this imported already, just as I was playing around with it the other day. And let's just we're gonna accept some of this stuff. We're gonna console log that. Okay, so it's trying to help me out. Yay. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna call that function, this WordPress API call. We're calling pages slug template. I don't know if this is big enough for you guys to see. Let me try it one more bigger. There we go. Okay. So we've got WordPress API call, which is this function from this file that we've got here. And then we're passing in the endpoint that we're trying to get, which we're pulling the template page based off of the slug. So based off of the URL slug. It's what WordPress calls them. And so we're telling, instead of using the ID of the page, we're going to do it this way. All right. And then we're getting the data from there, and we're going to console log the data. Okay. So when we do this, we get nothing. Oh, we have to save it. Helps if we save the file. All right. So we're getting this error. And I thought that this error, I don't know if I can, there we go, make that a little bit bigger for you. I was thinking this was a cores error. And so we were trying to figure out why it wasn't working, because usually local, the data is not coming back. So usually with WordPress local, which is what this application is, this is how we're hosting our WordPress website locally right now. Usually that's open and you can access the API. And so I was trying to figure out why in the world is this happening, and was looking up all kinds of cores issues and things like that and trying to figure that out. And it finally dawned on me what this is saying. It's a certificate authority that is invalid. So basically what it's saying is the HTTPS is trying to access a certificate, an SSL certificate that is invalid. So basically, we don't have SSL. Now, if you look at this, it says it kind of acts like it has SSL. Maybe I have to hit the trust here, and that's the problem. But it acts like it's got SSL, but it's not seeing it. So the simple fix for now, until I figure out something else, the simple fix is to come in here into our URL and remove the S. And that should give us the data, which it does. So here's the data that's coming back from the API endpoint. All of that consternation last week over a single character. So that was fun. That was fun to figure out. So Ming says, yeah, HTTP is good for dev environment. Yeah, I do still prefer to use HTTPS just because that way you're not changing stuff. You can just have everything work the same way as production if it's possible. But yeah, so I don't think we're going to worry about doing HTTPS here locally. But that's what the issue was. So anybody watching this, rewatching this on YouTube or whatever that was here last week, now you know what the problem was. So okay, so now we have our data. Now it comes in an array, and one of the things that I want to test is seeing what endpoints are available for just getting it, like getting the page by the slug. I don't know if that's possible. Yeah, you can't do it that way. So that's annoying. Let's ask Claude and see if it knows. Let's see. WordPress API, get single page by slug. Surely there's a way to do it. But see, I don't want this. I don't want it. I don't want to get this. Dum. Okay. Is there any other way? Nope. So if you want to use the slug, you're gonna have to get an array. Oh, that's annoying. Okay. But now we know. Knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe. Woo. All right. So we've got our data. So now we know that we can at least get the data from the WordPress API into our pages via our template. So via our little library here. Minuscule library. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do, I'm going to close this out. I want to actually do this a little bit better by making some reusable components for our header and footer. So let's come in here and create components, and we will add header.tsx and a footer 6. Okay. And we'll just come in here. Let's do I don't think we're using anything. We are using this for the header. Okay, so we'll just start with this, copy all this stuff. I don't think we need use client in here. Turn. Okay. And let's get the header. Which would be all of this. And actually, let's do this. Let's do the navigation only. Because I think that we will put that wrapping. Well, we'll just leave the wrapping div there for now. What's this complaining about? Expected. Why is there an expected? Is menu open? I don't know. That's weird. I don't know what it's expecting. We'll figure it out. Okay. Let's see. So we don't need this in here. We don't need this. And we don't need this. And we don't need all of that. And are we using scroll? Set scroll. Yeah, we're using that. I don't know why it's trying to get rid of that. Stop it. Okay. What is this complaining about? Match token here. This matches. Oh, I just am not a fan of React. Okay, those are closed. Got anything else? What is it? What is it complaining about? Let's open this up a little bit more so we can see. Am I missing something else here? Oh, this. Yeah, I might make it helpful. Ask Claude. Okay. I guess you probably have to actually, close the actual default function. That might be helpful. Okay. So we'll call this header. And I think everything is good. We'll find out here. Okay, so we've got header and here's our, we should rename this too, because this is actually template page. Okay, so we don't need this stuff. And we don't need this stuff. All right. We will use that here eventually. And we don't need this. We'll just do header. Okay. Let's import header like that. Components header, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's see if all of that actually worked. Yeah, our header's still there. That's good. All right, so we successfully copied the header out of our template into its own component. That will clean this up a little bit. Let's do the same thing for our footer. So we'll copy some of this stuff, which some of that we probably don't need. Let's just do return here for now. Oh, we need to have that in a function. That would be helpful. Yep, footer, thank you. That is one nice thing about using autocomplete, especially this one with that uses AI. It's definitely a lot faster autocomplete and seems to have a better idea of what you're doing. Oh, stink. Cancel. Huh. Okay. All right, let's copy our footer out here. Well, sure, we'll go ahead and put that there, even though we don't have it yet. Yep, bada bing. And it should be gone. Yeah, because we don't. Let's try this here. Yeah, it doesn't have anything in the return, so that's good. It's pulling the file in. All right, let's stick this in here. Bada bing. All right. So we've got our footer separated out, no errors or anything. This isn't relying on anything really. Yep. Should be able to get rid of that, I think. And everything should still work. It does. Very good. Okay. So we've got our header and our footer removed. Do we not need this? Apparently not. Okay. Let's see. All right, so we now have a template. What is this? Interesting. I haven't seen that before. So this is just a lot cleaner, as you can tell. A little bit easier to see what we're working with. Yeah, we could definitely go further with this, Ming, as far as separating out styling and all that stuff, and we might do that down the road. But I'm just trying to make things a little bit easier to work with here at the beginning, so we can actually use the information. Okay, so we've got our WordPress API call. Let's update this to set the page content, and we're doing data.content. And actually, what we'll see here. So let's do this. Oh, I forgot to take this out from testing before. So we're going to actually use the rendered content, and we could strip it, but the way WordPress works, it's going to send it rendered. We could probably strip it on the WordPress side. That might be something I'll look into. But yeah, so there's some more things, some deeper things that we could do with this. I don't want to get too in the weeds on it, because this is really just more for seeing how we can make this connection than it is for, doing everything perfectly. So if you're watching this and you're especially watching this later, not live, the goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to test and see what we can do between Next.js and WordPress. So there you go. Feel free to leave comments and tell me how bad of a coder I am. All right, so we've got our header and our footer. We've got our content area here. And let's see. We're setting the, well, we could do this. Let's do page content.title. Does not exist on type string. What? Oh, I know why. Okay. So set page content really just needs to be this. And the title should be part of that. Why is it saying it's a string? It's not a string. Let's do, you do, let's just do that. Okay, we've got our console log, right? So we know we've got an array. It's saying it's a string. We're trying to get, but that doesn't make sense because this works, or it doesn't. Rendered. Well, let's look at something here. Let's go back to look at our API, look at our data. Let's console log it again here. All right, so here's our data. We've got content. Oh, content's an array. Oh, we want rendered. Content.rendered. That's what. Okay, so content dot render. Nope, we don't need that. Okay. Now let's see. What? Object with keys rendered. If you meant to render a collection of children. What? Did I not save it? Unless it's not talking about title, is it? Is it talking about the title? Title. Oh, it does have rendered. Oops. Okay. There we go. Okay. Woo! Yay! Okay, so we've got our template. which is the title. If we go back here and look at our WordPress page, so we've got template, and then we've got this template page content here. So we could go in, let's mentordave.local/wp-admin admin test. Was it test? Yeah, okay. Okay, so let's go to our page, our template page. All right, and template page, and we'll just save that. Make sure that that updates over here. It does. Very good. All right, so now we're making some. We're doing some content. Let's do let's do some lorem ipsum generation here. Where is it at? Oh, here we go. Okay, generate. And we'll just grab a couple paragraphs here. And we're going to stick them. Let's see how this. So WordPress uses something called a Gutenberg editor. And I'm not a huge fan of the Gutenberg editor. We'll get rid of it eventually here as I show you some other things. But for now, let's just see what happens if we add multiple blocks of stuff. So we've got a paragraph here. Let's just do one section. We'll use, okay. So we've got that. Let's do another block here. We'll just use the middle section there. All right, so we have multiple blocks of information. And let's get rid of this one. Good. Okay. And we'll save that. Now let's see. I'm going to get rid of what that looks like here for a second. I want to see what comes back. All right. So let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys. Okay. Let's see. Refresh. All right. So when we get this back, we have our content. And what is this? That's interesting. ToString, value of local string. Oh, interesting. So basically what we have here is this is giving us just multiple paragraphs, right? Which is fine. For our use case, this is fine. Again, you might want to do something that would parse this stuff and replace tags or things like that. Or we could do that on the WordPress side with the plugin to make sure that it just sends us content. Maybe we want the content sent as a JSON object. That might be something interesting to try. I would assume somebody's done something with that. I don't know. We'll see. But as you can see, we've got that content here. We don't really have any styling on this though, so that's probably something that we should do. Let's see. Where's our template? Okay, so we've got an H1, but our styling certainly doesn't give H1 much H1-iness. So that's a little annoying. All right, so let's come back over here. Do we have in our page global CSS? Let's take a look at our page here. We just have an H1. Wonder why it's yeah, and that's the idea is you can create your content very quickly, and you don't have to have some other sort of content management system that you build or something like that. So that's definitely why we're just kind of showing you another option, especially if you're like a freelance developer And especially if you've got a client who's used to, used to doing WordPress or something like that, and you're building them a new site and you want to use uh, maybe some better front end tools, this is a good option for that. All right, let's giving us some suggestions here. Let's just take the suggestions and see what it looks like. All right, so this is kind of the same style that we've got up here for our title. That's fine. Let's do something here. What can I? What is the? I forget what the command is. Is it the command I? Yeah, there we go. Command I. I want this to be left aligned. Nope, didn't do anything. Let's see. Text left. Text. This probably needs to go here. Would be my guess. Justify center. How about justify left? Oh, that's not what I want. Because that justify, I want align left. And I want align items left. I'm not a big Tailwind person, so feel free to tell me if I'm doing something stupid. Nope, I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe here we could do align. Nope, that doesn't do it either. All right, here we go. We'll just do this. Align the H1 left using Tailwind. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Don't tell me you're going to do it. Just do it. Oh my goodness. This thing does actually move a little bit slower. That didn't work. To align it to the left by replacing non-existent align left class with Tailwind's text left class. Nope. See, this is the problem with dealing too. We're leaning too much on AI. Didn't work. Item center class in the parent. Ah, there is an item center class. Let's see. Nope, that just moved everything up to the top. Well, interesting. Huh. But what if I want to? Well, and part of the problem is because of the way we have our header set up, it's not static. I mean, it's static, but it wasn't originally intended to be static. So let's look at our header because I think that is what the problem is. So instead of this scroll junk, we don't need any of this scroll stuff. So we don't need any of this use effect. And let's see. I think I deleted something I shouldn't have. All right, we just need to get rid of this. There we go. That's good. Where's our scrolling? Oh, that was all handled in the code. Okay. So refresh. That still doesn't give us fixed. Fixed. How big is this? It's a fixed size, so let's just see how big it is. Whoop, wrong thing. Inspect. Oh, come on. Bloop. 64 pixels. So let's just give, let's give our page, for now, we'll give this a, what is it? MB or MT dash, actually, I don't know what that would be. 20? Oh, that's annoying. Why would that be there? Maybe padding. We'll do padding instead. There we go. That'll work for now. Okay. Again, not trying to be perfect. Just trying to make it work and not look stupid. Okay. Because this, we'll use this and we'll go through the deployment, but then I'll take it down because this will not be the actual DevMentor Dave website. All right, so now we've got header, footer. We've got things looking a little bit more normal. Just for fun, let's do, let's add some CSS in here. So we'll use this global.css and let's add a P. Sure, why not? See what happens here. Okay, not much. Let's do margin bottom. There we go. I got some space there, so that looks a little bit better. Excellent. Okay, so it gives us a little bit of margin on our paragraphs. Let's try something else. Let's add an image. And this should be interesting. Image. We'll upload an image. Let's use let's use one of our video image thumbnails just for fun. Okay, save that. Let's see how this comes through. We'll just refresh the page and see what happens. Boom! Look at that. Ha! Don't you love it when things work well? Okay, so we've got our content's pretty much coming in the way that we set it in WordPress, right? So let's say I wanted to resize this. Let's see if that has an effect and comes over here, which it does. All right, so you can kind of see the power of using something like WordPress because it's sending us rendered pages, basically. And it's doing it pretty quickly. I mean, that's pretty fast page load. So we could go through and build out a bunch of pages here. And as long as our basic look and feel is the way that we want it to be, then, you know, we're looking pretty good, right? So this is a template page. It's a testing page. There are going to be some more complex things that probably won't work well with this. And that would be things like forms. So if you're trying to use forms from the WordPress side, probably not going to work because they're designed, usually they're built by plugins, so they're designed to work within the WordPress ecosystem. So if you're going to have a form, you're probably going to need to build that form on the React side. So there are some gotchas here. I want to make sure that you understand this is not the perfect solution. This is a decent solution, especially for something that's just a lot of content that you're not putting a lot of functionality into. Any of your functionality that you're going to build out, you're going to want to do it in the React or the Vue or whatever, the front end side of things. And you'll probably have to do some more complicated things on the back end, in whether that's adding custom API endpoints or things like that, right? So one of the things that I want to do is kind of show you how we can implement some more some more data. And there is a plugin that I've used a lot for doing this type of thing called Advanced Custom Fields. So we're going to come in here to WordPress. Let's get out of our template page. And I'm going to go to plugins, and we'll add a plugin up here. Advanced Custom. I assume it's still around. Like I said, I haven't been in the WordPress world for a while, but there should be a free version. Yep. All right. This is it. Advanced Custom Fields, ACF. There's lots of other things that you can, there's plugins that they have for it as well. You know, things that you can buy to add more. And it just gives it some more functionality as well. So we've got it installed. We're going to activate it. All right. So Advanced Custom Fields, we have a new menu item over here called ACF. And I'm just going to click on that. Whew, this has changed since I've used it last. Okay, so I'm going to kind of relearn some things here. I apologize. I have not looked at this before. So let's add a field group. All right, so we'll just call this, it'll just be a text field group. We'll call, or field. So we've got a field group. Oh, here's the title. Okay, so we'll call this test field group. All right. And our first field is right here. And we'll just call this field 1. All right, and this is giving us a slug kind of for the field. Seriously? Okay. Yeah. Test 1. All right. Let's add another field down here. And we'll call this, let's make this a number field. So we'll call this test 2. And that automatically fills it in. Excellent. And I can close these up for some more real estate so we can see what's going on here. All right. And then we come down here. Now I want to make this field group only accessible for the template page. So I can come in here and I can be like, page is equal to template page. All right. And I could add other rules there as well. So I'm going to save those changes. And then I'm going to come back here to my template page. And you'll notice underneath the content section, I now have this section here, which is extra fields that I can add information in. All right. So I'm going to do, this is test 1. And then here should be a number. So 123 and save. All right. Now the question is, and this is something I don't know off the top of my head, will this actually come over in our API call, or will we need to make some adjustments? So let's bring this back down to normal here. All right, so here's our normal API response with our content. So let's refresh it and see what we've got. All right, so let's see, anything in here? ACF, there we go. Okay, so it's got an ACF section, but it didn't send anything. Interesting. Did I not save it? I thought I saved it. Refresh. Should be there. ACF changed false. So it knows that it should be there. Why isn't it sending it? Let's see if there's a setting somewhere that I'm not seeing. Options. No, that's options pages. Tools. Export, import. That's not helpful. Field groups. All right, let's ask Claude. All right. WordPress, advanced custom fields not showing in page API response. Tell me the solution, oh great one. Page ACF, all right, get comment. Oh shoot, it's a pro thing. Manually register fields since HTTP doesn't have built-in REST API support. Are you kidding me? That's interesting. ACF free doesn't. I must have always used the pro version. Well, that's annoying. Do I want to buy ACF just for the live stream? That's a good question. Let's see how much it costs. If anybody would like to donate to purchasing ACF, $50. All right, let's look back at this solution. Register REST field. Custom field name. That's annoying. All right, let's do this. Let's do it. Okay, so now we've got to do some editing. This will be fun. Okay. We're going to go into a place that you probably most likely should never go. We're going to go into, do I want to do this as a custom plugin or just do it in my theme? Because we're not using the theme, so we really should use a plugin. And that is annoying. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go over here and we're going to open this in, I don't really want to open it in VS Code. Let's do windsurf. Let's do another windsurf. All right, and this is not going to be, hang on one second. I don't want you to see all of my file structure here because this is in a different spot. Where is this at? Sites. Where's sites? Is it under applications? Local? I'm so confused. Well, I guess I can do this. Site folder. I just probably opened that 12 times. Okay, let me see where that is. Devminter Dave, yep. Okay, go up a level. Where's it? Local sites, David Walsh. Okay. All right, well, that's where I was. Local sites. Where's local sites? It's not even in here. How am I supposed to find? Oh, there it is. Boop. Okay. Sorry. Yes. Yes, trust the authors. Okay. App. Public. Okay. Here's our so here's our whole site in local. If you wanted to see what that looked like. And then you can look at logs, configurations, and then the actual app inside the public directory is our, this is our database. And then here is our file structure for WordPress. So this will be fun. So inside WordPress, we've got WP content, and inside that is plugins, themes. We're going to go to plugins. And we're going to create a new plugin, and we're going to call it ACF Fix. Then we'll make a new file and we'll call it acf-fix.php. And I forget all of the junk that you have to put in here at the top for it to recognize it as. So we're going to copy from this one. ACF fix. We'll call it API fix. There we go. I don't care about any of this stuff. I think it has to be here though. 2025, sure. All right, whatever. WordPress plugin. Oh, I think this is the stuff that has to be here. Doggone it. ACF. So WordPress uses this stuff to validate that it's a plugin. I think basically you just need the plugin name, but we'll add a couple things here. Fixing the API for our use. Version 1.0. And hopefully that's all we need. And let's see. Do we need anything else here? Probably just our stuff. All right, just so you guys understand basically what's going on here. So WordPress uses something called hooks in its code base, and we are and actions, right? So we're hooking into the action. So at least from what I remember, the two hooks are actions and filters. So actions let you hook in things to do. Awesome. Somebody's already spamming us. What do you know? That's good. All right. Cheap viewers. Well, the ones I have are free, so there you go. How do I kill this? Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to remove them. Click on their name. All right, I restricted them. Ban. We'll do ban. Okay. All right. Sweet. Ah! Deleted. Yeah, I'll figure this stuff out eventually. Okay. So, what is this guy doing? He doesn't know what he's doing. It's kind of just sitting there in the way. Okay. So, what we're doing is we're hooking into this action called REST API init. So, at the beginning of the API initiation, we're going to call this function, right? And so we have this function here. This function uses a built-in method for WordPress called register REST field. So page, custom field name. So we need to update this stuff here. Now we're gonna do test_1, and we'll copy this. There's more elegant ways to handle this, but for now, we will just do it this way and see if Claude gave us something that will work. All right, we'll see. First of all, let's just see if our page still loads. That's good. Now let's see if we get anything back in here. Nope, I'm not seeing anything. Oh, hang on. So let's go to our plugins. We have to actually activate the plugin. That would be helpful. So we've got our plugin in there, but we need to activate it. All right, let's see if it works now. See if anything broke. No broken. Okay, that's good. And this. Come on now. I don't see anything new. I don't see anything new. Nothing in the meta. Title, links. No. Oh, they're right here. Aha. So we just added it as fields right here. And again, there's more, we could dig into the WordPress side more if we wanted to and figure out how to do this better. We could buy the pro version of ACF, but this at least just lets us see the information and interact with it. Okay, so let's pull that into our code base. Where are we at? Where's our... Did I kill our... Huh. Oops. Hang on one second. Looks like I got rid of our thing. So new window. That's what I did wrong. I didn't do a new window. My bad. My bad. There we go. Okay. So this should be back. There's our cascade again. Okay. Let me increase the size here so you guys can actually see what's on here. Alrighty. Welcome, Enoxidus. Hopefully they're not a spammer like the last person that was in here. I don't need paid users or paid viewers, so please don't throw that in here. Let's see. Welcome. Feel free to jump in the conversation. All right. Here we go. So let's put in our new fields. So let's add them here. Const test1. Yep, that's going to be a string, and const test2, but this is actually going to be null. And it's going to be, let's see. Or, stop. Null or number. All right. So we're telling it that this is going to be null or a number. We're setting it to null. This is a string by default. All right. And it's already telling us that it wants to help us set these things. So we'll let it do that. And it's telling us that it wants to help us add it down here. So we'll let it do that just for fun. There we go. All right. So again, I'm not really worried about making this perfect. We're just going to fit this in here so we can see how it works. Oh, come on. Okay. Okay. And we will reset the page. I don't see anything. We've got our data. We know it's here. Did we do something wrong? Let's take a look. Test one. Aha! It's using the wrong field names. All right, let's try it now. There we go. This is test 1 and 1, 2, 3. Now our image needs a little bit of margin, so let's go back to our global here. And we're going to just do margin bottom. And that gives a little space. There we go. Excellent. Okay. So now we're pulling in other data besides just the content we're putting in custom data into our actual page, and that will allow us to make it to where, let's say we didn't want to use the content. We wanted to have content that came in very specific formats so that we could use it the way that we want to on the next and React side, right? So, for example, let's go back and look at our homepage example. Hang on, what happened? Oh, it's on this. It's on this side, not on the WordPress side. All right, so let's just say, for example, we wanted to and again, if you buy the pro version of Advanced Custom Fields, there's a lot more things like repeatable fields. Let's say we wanted to do something like this section here, right? So we could go in and we could set up option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4, right? And we could do that in the page settings and pull those in. Now, another thing that we could do in WordPress is we could actually set up what's called an options page or a settings page, so you can configure things outside of a specific page and then pull them in via the API separately. It kind of depends on what you want to do and how you want to get it set up and how much you want to play with it, honestly. So what I did was the plugin that I wrote real fast from here was on the WordPress side. So I added that as a plugin to WordPress. And what it does is it registers these fields with the API. So if the page that I'm trying to get, if the page I'm trying to get has these fields, it will add them to the API call as fields. So when we go to template, we see them down here, test 1 and test 2. Oh, you can't see that because I'm in the way. There we go, test 1 and test 2. So that is that's getting some other customization, and this is where things can get really interesting. And I'm going to actually plan out some basically how I want to do that with the main homepage. So we'll take the homepage, and I might go ahead and buy the ACF Pro version, as much to my chagrin. Oh, this is a localhost. Just so we can get some of the other features. Again, it is, it's $50. One thing I will say, WordPress plugins generally are required to have the GNU license. So if we come back over here, or the GPL license, so the GPL 2.0 license basically gives you the right to distribute the work for free. And the reason for that is because the work that you write generally is based off of, it's an iterative of the original work, which is GPL2. So WordPress itself is GPL2 licensed, which means you can change it, you can modify it, you can redistribute it, you can even resell it if you want to. But if somebody buys it from you, they have the right to redistribute it for free if they want. So technically, you could buy a single license and distribute and use that one license on all your websites. Now, they're going to probably have some sort of license key registration. Yeah, license keys are used to enable plugin updates and unlock premium features. So the problem is that on their side, they're using this to manage whether or not you can update your plugin. So that's why generally it's good, especially if you're using this as a freelancer. Just tell I usually have my client pay for the plugins outright if there's a requirement for a license, and that just allows them to be able to have that ongoing expense without it coming through me. So I don't have to deal with updating that all the time. It just automatically gets updated based on their payment, and I don't have to worry about it. So as far as windsurf, Ming, I haven't configured windsurf to do anything. It just it tries to be helpful out of the box. But I would say if you're building a front end for a WordPress endpoint or WordPress API, this would probably be my number one plugin that I would recommend to purchase, because it's going to give you tons and tons of flexibility in how you manage the content on the back end. Again, building content in here is great and it's easy and it works pretty well, but sometimes you might want to have more control over how that content gets rendered on the other side. So you might just want to get it as text or as numbers or as other things. And so I would say if you do want to go down this route, and again, I might just bite the bullet and buy it myself just so that we can do all the things that I want to do with this. But if you do go down this route, I would suggest at least getting the personal one for your own playing around with, and even initially launching perhaps a website. But I would have your if you're doing this for a client or something like that, I would have them pay for it. So what is ACF for? So if you go back over here, ACF allows you to add extra fields to a page or a post or custom post types, which we haven't talked about, or options pages. It basically allows you to add your own custom data to WordPress outside of just the basic template content, the basic content editor, right? So I've added a text field to this page and I've added a number field to this page. And what that does is that gives me more control over the data. So with this content that gets rendered here, I'm just taking this this HTML, right? I'm just taking this HTML and I'm just rendering it, right? So if we go back and look at our page, we're literally just saying, hey, we're going to dangerously set the HTML to the page content. And if you're in control of that page content, that's not a problem, right? But sometimes you might want to have more control over the look and feel of that page content. So down here, you can see we put these fields, these extra fields inside of these paragraph tags. Now, if I just put them next to each other, they're just going to render next to each other because they're just data, basically, right? They're just data coming through the API. So here we see it just renders it all next to each other. But if we want, we can put these inside divs, right? Something like that. And so now we've got them inside divs. We could give these different classes. So we could do something like that, right? And so now we have more control over the finer, smaller details of information coming from WordPress, whereas before we were just rendering whatever WordPress sent us from an HTML layout standpoint and styling standpoint, right? So again, we kind of were able to do that with the title because we pulled the title out specifically and stuck it in an H1 tag because that's available to us separately in the response from WordPress. So the problem right now with the way that we have it set up is we have to register every single one of these individually in WordPress through this function. If we buy the pro version of ACF, then it should register them automatically for us, and it will give us access to a lot more types of fields, something like a repeater field. So a repeater field would be really helpful for this page here, where we've got, the same style group of information. We've got an icon, a title, and content, right? So it'd be great to set up a field where we can just add a new one without having to set up 4 individual versions of that in WordPress. We could do the same for something like this, or for like these testimonials. So I think that's going to be something that we're going to want to play around with, I think, next week. So I probably will end up getting the pro version of this, just to be able to get that, if nothing else. You can also get like specific blocks in your editor so that you can pull that information out. There's been other changes and things, but you can create pages. So if you want to create like overall settings for your site, you can create settings pages with those settings, and then pull that data in via the API. So there's just lots of different things that you can do, functionality you can add to ACF that allows you to control more of the data that gets sent over to your front end. So you can use more WordPress interaction to manage the look and feel on the front end and make your front end a little bit more agnostic. So like we could add an options page to WordPress that sets the color of the header, right? And maybe sets the text of the site name, or the text and URL of the button, things like that. So we could set a lot of that in our WordPress settings through advanced custom fields that are not typically there in WordPress. So it just allows us to add a lot more granular control and functionality. And there might be, so let's say, for example, you're building front end and you don't want somebody to change, like you don't want somebody to mess with the size of this image. Because again, right now we could come in here and we could take this image, we can blow it up, make it really big, save that, and all of a sudden we come back over here and this image is massive, right? So we've got this massive image, but let's say we never want an image to be this big. Now, there are some things that we could do through global CSS that could manage that. But let's say sometimes on certain pages we want big images, certain pages we don't. So on the pages that we don't want big images, we would have either a specific class name, but that would not come through. We'd have to add that on the WordPress side in order for it to come through, because it would be a huge pain to try to add the class name to an image that's coming from an API content management system. So in this case, we might add a new field that's an image field so that we can have more control over it. So let's just for fun, let's come over here and where are we at? Let's come back to WordPress pages. Oh no, we went ACF. ACF. Come on, you can do it. All right, so let's add another field to this field group. We'll add a field, and this will be a image field. All right, and we'll do image 1. And that gives us image 1. Image array, we want to return the image URL. And that's fine, we'll just do that. And we will save changes. So we've added an image to the possible fields for this template page. Now we're only assigning this field group to this template page specifically. We could do it to all the pages if we wanted to, but this is what we're going to do for now. So let's go back over to our page, template page. And now down here, we have the new image selection. So I'm going to do add image. We'll go to media library because we already have it in there, and select. All right, so now I've added that image. I can hit save. And let's come back over to our app over here, refresh. So now it's not going to show up because we didn't add it to our fields. So let's go back to our WordPress side and register another field. So you can see why this would be really annoying to do this for every field you create. So we got image 1. All right, so now we're sending that back. Let's update this. We should have an image 1 in here. There we go, image 1. And we've got the URL of that image. All right. So now it's not rendering here. Let's go back, and we know that it's in the URL is in the API. So let's do this. Let's remove it. I can just probably hit delete. Yeah, there we go. All right, we'll remove it from the content since we have it down. I have the page open twice. We'll move it from the content now that it's down here in our field group, our ACF field group. And we've got that saved. So now when we refresh the page, we don't have the image anymore because it's not coming back in the ACF. It's not coming back in the content section. But again, we have the image here in this in the API, the image URL. All right, so let's add this to our page. So let's do const. We'll do image 1. Set image 1, and this will be a string, so that's good. Do that, add that there. Okay, so now we're going to come back up here because we want to put this image specifically after our content. All right, so let's just do that, and we'll see how big this gets. Image 1, there you go. All right, so it's already refreshed for us. And now, basically, we have the same look and feel, but we have more control over this image from the front end side rather than the back end side because it's coming as a separate. Value in the API. All right, and there's some stuff we could fix this later. I'm not worried about it at the moment. But let's say we only wanted this to be width half. All right. Now it's only half as big, right? So we have more control over how the image works, especially if we're doing something like a blog. We always want the images to be a certain size or something like that. We can control by sending it separately instead of in the content. By sending it separately down here, we have more control because we're just getting the URL of the image, and we can display it inside of our application, inside of our front end. So this way, all the content is managed by WordPress, and the design and the layout and the look and the feel is managed by the front end, by WordPress, or by Next and React. So we can control the design on the front end, and the back end is just sending us all the information. But it lets us send information separately for specific pieces of information. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, ACF allows you to add custom pieces of information, put it that way. So it allows you to add custom features, advanced custom fields, custom pieces of information, either to WordPress as a whole in like an options page, or to specific pages or posts or groups of pages or posts. There's something in WordPress called a post type. So like we can create our own custom post type. For example, we could do a testimonial post type, and we could just remove the content section and just have specific ACF fields for like these testimonials. So we could do like a number of stars, testimonial, name, whatever the title, right? And we could have just those fields on that custom post type. So that we might do that. I think we're going to do testimonials next week and just kind of walk through what that looks like to really go a little bit deeper into WordPress. And again, this is a reason why you might learn WordPress, right? Why you might dive a little bit deeper into that world, and something like advanced custom fields that give you some more functionality, um, to be able to customize and make it easier for your user, your end user, to be able to update content. So even with WordPress, a lot of people still struggle with knowing what to put where, especially when you give them something like a builder. They can either do stuff that's really dumb and ugly, or they can, put content in there that doesn't match the way that you design the front end, things like that, right? When you give a user control over content, there's often issues with that content working correctly, depending on how you did your front end. Doing something like this, where they don't even really mess with the content side, all they do is input information into specific fields, that gives you the ability to control completely the look and feel on the front end, and it makes things much simpler for them on this side. So we'll kind of walk through how we can do that for our client next week, and we'll probably do several of these sections, um, like testimonials, these blurbs. We'll do several pieces of this page next week, just to show you kind of how you can pull some of that data and how you can set it up to make it easy for them to not make a mistake. That's one of the big things, especially when you're working with clients. One of the big things is giving them the ability to manage their content in a way that's simple, that they can understand, and that they don't feel like they can mess up. And one of the things that I love about using advanced custom fields is you can create what you want for them to see and interact with, in a way that they can feel confident knowing I'm not going to screw up the look and feel of my site. I'm just updating information. And that's where one of the problems with a lot of the WordPress builders these days is they're built in such a way to help people who are more design focused be able to build websites quickly. And that's really great until you turn that over to a client, unless you're not going to turn it over to the client. But in my opinion, you should always turn it over to the client, even if they end up wanting to still pay you to manage the content. They should have access to it. And I want to make it easy for them and easy for me in the future to be able to just log in and boop, 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 change a couple things without worrying about, if I change the way that this is structured in the content area, is that going to mess up what it looks like on the front end? And when you're just rendering content like we started off with, you have much more probability of that potentially messing up your front end design if they do something weird, especially if they are they're messing with like adding CSS or things like that to their content. Because again, we could come in here. Let me come back over to my template. So we could come in here and make some interesting changes. So we change our color to pink, right? Save that. Let's come back over here, refresh. Oh, that's interesting. It didn't come through. What in the world? Interesting. Pink. Let's try changing the sides. Default display. Save. Let's view it on here. So it's pink on here. Interesting. Is it not coming through as pink over here? Ooh. Ooh. Let's take a look at this. Has accent to color. Ah, that's why. So it's using classes. That's interesting. You probably can't see that. Basically, here, let me do this. We'll inspect. So you can see. So that what it's rendering is it's rendering classes instead of rendering the actual change, the actual like style. Interesting. I'll have to see if there's a way for it to render styles instead of classes. Let's ask Claude. WordPress, Gutenberg. So this is another reason why you might want to have more control over the front end, because not everything gets passed the way that you're expecting it to. Editor, render styles instead of classes. Interesting. Unique block editor styles. Add this to your themes functions. I don't want that. Nope. Theme JSON support. Force level changes. I need the styles for my React content. Import blocks. WordPress block library. Ooh, interesting. Nope. You can just stop that, Claude. Stop. All right, so we could import. Let's try this. This will be fun. Okay. New tab. Clear. All right. Let's install the WordPress block library. I've never seen this before. Unable to resolve dependency tree. Found React 19.1. Could not resolve dependency. What? I don't care. Do it anyway. I have a higher level. Why would that not work? It probably still won't work, but it's worth a shot. Let's see. What's the next step here? Okay. So import style. I don't want to import the theme. I just want to import the style. Well, do I need to have both? I don't know. Import styles. Okay, so we'll do that. Let's see if this works. We want to put this in our layout, I believe. I don't see an error. That's good. Use the styles in your React component. Oh, for crying out loud. Import Gutenberg styles.css. All right, so in our page, we'll do this. Like that. Nothing. Can't resolve Gutenberg styles.css. Okay. Let's try. Let's make everybody dizzy here. Woo. Okay. Import styles above. Oh. For custom CSS. Oh. Okay. Hang on. I don't need that. That doesn't work. Any errors? No errors. Let's see. Maybe putting it in here is not the best idea at the moment. Let's just try putting it in our page and see if that works. I'm not getting any warnings. WordPress block library preview. It's pulling it in. That's interesting. Interesting. Let's see. What is our has accent color 2? Let's go back to our that's not what I want. Let's do fine, has accent. It's not in there. Not in there. Huh. That's interesting. What is all this? Gutenberg block styles for React. With the, I guess I have to use this. Good grief. Gutenberg styles SCSS. Okay. Well, let's do this. Let's put this back in our layout and just see if that works here. Oops. All right, and then reload. I don't see it. I don't see it, so I don't think it's working there because we're not using the layout there. So, interesting. I thought this layout, I might have to go back and reread some things. All right, let's put it back in our page for now. Since we know that gets loaded there, then let's come up to, we'll just create a file here called Gutenberg CSS.css. And we'll copy this guy over here. See if that gives us what we're looking for. I'm going to doubt it. Yeah, that's not, that doesn't even list the color stuff. I think we're missing something here. Go away. All right, so then here, blah, 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 blah. Did it work? Nope. In fact, what is this? So here's the Gutenberg. No, this is, I don't know what this is. I don't know. So I don't know how we get that style. So, but that's another, so that's another issue, right? So if you're going to be pulling in the content, it's throwing in classes and we don't have access to those classes, at least natively at the moment. So we'll have to see. Oh, what's this issue? Oh, go away. We'll have to see if there's a way to pull in those Gutenberg classes so you can get updates like that, because we definitely want to be able to pick up if they're going to make changes like this in their content. We definitely want to be able to pick that up and show it on the front end if we're going to give them that ability. So I'll do a little bit of research on that. If you want to do research on it and send me a comment, maybe jump on the YouTube side, put a comment on there later if you figure out how to do that. I will certainly, hopefully have it figured out by next Saturday. And we'll figure out what we're doing next. But next Saturday, I think I'll go ahead and get the ACF Pro so that we can do some more fun things like repeater fields and stuff like that, and really show you even more the power of being able to set up a custom backend with WordPress, with the whole WordPress framework at your disposal, and get to building this thing out so that we can have full control of the content in WordPress, but full control of the design on the React and Next side. So I think we're going to go ahead and cut it off for now, since we've got a couple issues that I want to do some research on again, and we'll be ready for next Saturday. So hopefully this was interesting. Hopefully this gives you an idea of maybe some new things that you can do with WordPress, and using some of the newer front end technology like React or Vue, using Next or Nuxt, things like that. So this is just another way for you to kind of obfuscate the back end, do it to where you don't have to use a lot of thought, especially if you're using like the Pro plugin, like we'll see next week. You'll see how easy it is to just start really building specific content pages for somebody to use and reuse, and then how to implement those on the front end side. So, and even be able to send them through the API. So again, hopefully that's interesting to you as we go along and build out this website. Hopefully it's not too boring. Some of you crazy people who enjoy watching people write code. Hopefully I do it in such a way that you're able to at least laugh at me, if not learn something along the way. So thanks for jumping on live. Those of you who were able to jump in here, thanks for commenting and interacting with me. If you're watching this later, yeah, exactly. Means it opens up a lot more doors. See, the more you know, the more options there are, and you can find a better option potentially for a future project that you're working on, or a future client, or something like that. So hopefully it's been helpful and an eye-opening, and you enjoy it. And we'll be back here next Saturday for a couple more hours, most likely, diving into this project some more, showing you some more things that we can do with WordPress and ACF and front-end tools. And then obviously we'll be here next week as well, Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Central United States time, doing our 30-minute Workday recap. So jump on to those live streams also here on Twitch, and they're also uploaded afterwards on YouTube as well. So if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the likes button, hit the subscribe button. And if you're watching it on Twitch, hit the follow button, become a follower on Twitch. If you're watching on YouTube, go over to Twitch and be a follower over there too. So we can kind of build up our followership in both places. For now, we're just going to be live streaming on Twitch because it's a better live stream platform. So that way, if you follow over there, you'll get notified when we're going live, and you don't have to watch it later. You can join us as we're doing this. So have a great day. Have a great rest of your weekend. I will see you all on Monday afternoon, and enjoy.